welcome back to episode 90 of the What's the Dill podcast. Big surprise today. Tanya Dill is in the house. Welcome back, everybody. Tanya.
Hi.
You're back.
I know. After 18 months, well, probably more, 2 years. Which is wild that you've been doing this for 2 years.
Well, there was a big gap of that 2 years where we didn't, but 34 episodes we did.
We did together?
We did together,
Really?
34 episodes.
Oh my gosh, that sounds like a lot.
Yeah, I mean, we did. Remember that? That was the pandemic time we were doing all that.
Yep.
34 episodes.
Wow.
Tanya is back. Everybody's favorite. Everybody's favorite. Now, you know, the amount of times I've gotten a text like, hey, is Tanya ever going to come back? I'm like, listen, I know. Listen, I'm trying my best here as one, but it's so funny. As one, it's single, it's
probably different.
Vastly harder.
Yeah. I can imagine, because we're just in conversation. And with just you, you got to entertain everybody.
It feels like doing jokes in the line of like TSA at an airport. Kind of like, hey everybody, can I have everybody's attention real quick? You know, like what are your thoughts on that? Like, it just can feel like that. I mean, obviously, that's why I love the reactions and like people,
right, commenting and interacting online on social media. Yeah,
because it makes it like a more of a conversation relationship rather than just me talking to the camera. So glad you're back.
Thanks.
Nice.
Dap it up.
Yeah, dap.
So we tell our son, right?
Yeah, dap it up. Dap. So what's going on with you, Tanya? What's going on with you?
Oh my goodness. Well, we had a baby. Right. We had a baby 9 days ago. 10 days ago. And it was a wild ride. We had a baby right before the Super Bowl Sunday, the morning of Super Bowl Sunday.
Right. So before we get into that, Super Bowl, that was fun.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Even, I mean, we were watching it in a hospital room. But it was a good game. It started out slow.
Yeah.
But past halftime, and we were both really into it. It was like fun to kind of distraction, I guess, you know, from just having a wild birth story and a crazy ride. Yeah, it was
being
fun.
Together in the room, just like eating our dinner from the hospital, watching the game. Just like
it was nice.
It was fun. It was nice. Like we were just in there, cheering. You hear like rain.
Of course, following the Taylor Swift train and.
Now you're the biggest Swiftie in the world, aren't you? This is the biggest Swiftie in the world.
Actually, yeah, that's sarcasm.
Sing the songs.
I don't dislike any of her music or anything. I'm just not a Swiftie. She
has all the wristbands, right? All the eras, right? Oh, wasn't that the thing? Everyone's getting wristbands.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I'm a fan of. Mm-hmm. I'm a fan of what's his name?
Kelsey.
Kelsey.
She loves Travis Kelsey.
I actually do.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of him with her.
I'm gonna find her on the podcast Kelsey has next week. She's gonna be a guest star on that.
But it was a lot of fun watching the Super Bowl together.
Yeah. Thoughts on if Kelsey and T Swift should get married?
Oh, they totally should. They should get married, live in the Midwest, like live in Kansas City, have a bunch of kids, and just like do good life together.
Yeah, live life out there.
Yeah, I think they should.
They should. And honestly, he should have proposed to her after winning the Super Bowl. And I said that. I was like, if they win the Super Bowl, Travis Kelsey.
That would take the most. That would take away from the Super Bowl. Like that would take away from them winning.
It would have been hilarious. So, I feel like they should have, and then I don't know, they fly off on a rocket ship together. It's like, bravo! So that we think they're a good pair, and they should probably just get married.
Yeah, and have kids.
Have some kids.
Yeah.
We're also all born in '89, all of us, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like Travis Kelsey too?
I'm like 90% sure.
Aww.
Yeah. We're all '89, so 1989. So that was a lot of fun watching the Super Bowl together. The three of us, a newborn baby, in a hospital room. So why were we in the hospital watching the Super Bowl together?
At the hospital.
At the hospital.
We had a baby that morning.
Our second.
Baby
girl.
Baby girl.
That morning. Now, this is the craziest birth story. One of the craziest ever.
I think so.
I think so. Now, if we get a little anxious or worked up, it's not. It's just that this was very intense, crazy.
I use the word traumatic, even though Pete doesn't like me using the word traumatic, but that's what it felt like.
Because it sounds like a war story, but it sounds like you're getting PTSD from like war, like traumatic, post-traumatic stress disorder.
Okay, maybe I am.
Well, not that I don't like it. Just like I don't want you to feel like associate the birth of our daughter with trauma.
And then I'm gonna fear having more kids, and then all these other fears are gonna
go into all of a sudden you're like, I can't even look at brick buildings without my heart starting to race because it looks like a hospital or something. So
fair.
But it was borderline traumatic, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna go through the step by step, the play by play. The story, and it was a lot of fun. We had a lot of laughs along the way. It was quite...
Well, now we did. Oh my gosh.
Now we can have some laughs.
Yeah, now we can.
We can enjoy telling the story, and we had told this story to a lot of friends and family, and we were just like, we got to talk what's in the podcast. We got to bring this team back together. Give the life update where our first episode was long distance love, where we talked about being in a long distance relationship. To now this episode, episode 90, we're to our second child, and it was insane. That's a journey. That's an arc. So we had to talk about it.
Yeah, totally.
Let's get started on the story. Start us off. Walk us through the very, very beginnings. It is Saturday, February 10th.
Yep.
We're going to bed.
We're going to bed. We're already in bed. I mean, we're watching a show. We're kind of like fading. It's 11 p.m. and I go to the bathroom and I come back to Pete and say, "Oh my gosh, I think I have what is called like my bloody show, or like your mucus plug comes." Starting
off already hot. Informational. If you don't want to hear this type of talk about pregnancy and birth,
maybe
no, because this is intense. Okay.
So I tell Pete, and it's my second pregnancy. So I remember with our first, that happened also the morning of, and then we had taken so many classes and had researched so much. So this time around, I thought, okay, I remember bloody show, like...
It's the beginning of labor.
It's the beginning.
What does that mean? It could mean a day. It could mean a month or a week.
A week, yeah.
So a day, a week, 5 hours. You don't really know, and you didn't have a contraction when this happens.
Right. You just know it's the start
of labor.
But I didn't have any contractions. So we thought, okay, let's go to sleep. And
got a couple things ready. Okay, we put the finishing touches on our bags.
Yes.
Okay, let's go to bed.
Yes. I didn't have contractions.
Yeah. So I'm awoken at 3 a.m. and you're like, hey, I've had a few contractions. Like, it's starting.
Yes.
Like, okay, labor's starting.
Yes.
Great.
Now, the one experience I have and we have...
It's an important detail.
Yeah, because we were following that timeline, which maybe to a fault we probably maybe shouldn't have. But when I went into labor with our first, I had a couple contractions. I was in labor for
36 hours.
For like 30 hours, yeah. So from the moment my first contraction happened to the moment my son was born, it was 30 hours. So now we're back here. Okay, my first contraction happened
2:30 in the morning.
2:30 in the morning. I'm thinking, all right, I'm going to start. Labor has started, but they also say try to labor as much as you can at home.
At home.
If you get to the hospital and you're not dilated enough, they'll send you back. So
go home. You out of here. So we didn't want that to happen.
No. So I'm thinking, all right, I'm going to try and labor here at home as much as I can.
Totally normal.
I wake up Pete at 3 a.m. just to let him know I've had a couple contractions.
Yeah. And you said it like that too, right?
Mm-hmm.
You said it like that. You didn't say...
No, I woke up and said, hey, Pete, No.
No, just kidding. So at 3 a.m., wake me up, contractions started. Okay, so we say, all right, great. Like, let's, we thought this is going to start in the morning. We'll have to go to the hospital. You'll be laboring for a few hours. Let's get it going. So I kind of I get dressed. I'm like, all right, I'm up for the day. I'm not going to go back to sleep if she's having labor. All right, hey, I'm going to go back to sleep. I need to catch a couple more, hours. I get ready for the day. And I get our bags ready. In that time, from 3 to 3:30, your contractions pick up, and they're kind of all over the place. You're kind of having maybe it was 15 minutes, then it was 12 minutes, and then by 3:30 you were like, hey, I think we should
call somebody.
We should call someone to kind of get going to
come take care of our son.
Our son is asleep in the other room.
Yeah.
So at 3:30 we call her dad, who is an hour away from where we are.
Yes.
Give him a call. We're like, hey, can you come up to watch our son? We're going to go to the hospital. He's like, great,
Labor
okay.
has started. So, he's like, congratulations. I'll be there. He's getting out of bed. Yeah. It's an hour away.
It
is an hour away. It is what it is.
Now, here's where it gets interesting. Because in the time where Tanya was having, some labor pains, contractions, it really started to get, painful and... escalating.
Yeah.
And escalating.
Yes.
And then from 3:30 to 4, I don't know, you must have had a couple more.
Yeah. From 3:30 to 4, I think they were consistent. They were 9 minutes apart.
9 minutes apart.
Which they say go to the hospital when they're 5 minutes apart. What is it?
For 511. Go to the hospital at 5:1. 5 minutes apart for 60 seconds, 1 minute, for 1 hour. That's when you go to the hospital.
Yes.
So we're at 9
at least
minutes.
Our training told us that.
Yeah, that's what the training says. That's what And let me tell you, it's not always that easy to just. It's not always that clear cut as 511.
It was with our son.
It was with our son, and we did it, and we went, and it was still almost early.
Yeah, they were about to send me home.
Yeah. Okay, so I need a sip of my tea because.
So we're at 9 minutes apart.
9 minutes apart. And the pain's really starting to kick in, too.
The contractions are getting very, very painful.
And you're like, this is the first of where Tanya is now
we have to go.
We have to go, and I need my epidural. Tanya kind of started this of I need my epidural. We have to go.
Yeah.
And understandably, I could never imagine being in labor pain. So I was like, yeah, we're going to get you your epidural. We're going to get your epidural. Your dad's on the way. Dad's on the way. But it was starting to pick up.
Yeah, it started to pick up very quickly. At 4 o'clock, I told Pete, I don't think my dad's going to make it in time. We have to go now, and he probably won't be here until 4:45.
Right.
So at that point, we had asked some friends. We had asked beforehand.
Hey, if anything happens in the middle of the night,
can we call you?
And they were like, yeah, sure, we'll keep our phones on. And what do you know? About 2 days after that, it's happening. Can you come up here? Now, so we call some friends. They're like, great. Husband's coming up. Husband, good. He's in a job that's high stress, so he's able to be good under high stress scenarios, high stress situations. So he's coming up, but they're about 20 minutes away. 20 minutes door to door. Got to put on some shoes. 20, 25 minutes. So dad's on the way. Friend is on the way.
My mom's in Houston.
Mom is in Houston. Contractions are starting to really now get painful and pick. And you were like, I don't even know if I could walk down to the car.
Yes, because we're in an apartment and we're on the second floor. Now I have to take stairs.
Stairs down. So you're in a lot of pain. Mm-hmm. I'm like, let's just walk to the car. We start walking to the car.
I pass out.
Passes out in the kitchen. Faints in the kitchen. I'm kind of, Try to catch her in the kitchen. Our apartment door is wide open. Because I'm propping up the door with my leg. Have her head in my hand. And I'm like, anyone could have walked by would have been like, what is happening?
Do we need to call 911?
I would have like, please, send them. Send anyone. We need this girl. Yes, she needs to go to the hospital. It was crazy. So you finally come to.
I guess I finally get out of the faint that I had. It's by the grace of God, I'm able to walk down these stairs.
Yeah, and as we're walking though, I'm walking, you're like, slow down!
Oh, well, yeah. Probably. I don't remember, but I'm sure I was yelling something.
Trying to get you there fast, but I was going too fast. You're like, slow was like, oh shoot, we're going down these steps. And
now at this point, see, the thing is, the contractions so quickly sped up, so fast, which I guess is normal for certain births. Like, it's more normal than we think, especially with births that come after your first. But I mean, at 3:30, they were 9 minutes apart.
Right.
At 4:15, they were now 6 minutes apart.
6 minutes apart.
By 4:20, like from 4:15 to 4:30, they went down to 4 minutes apart.
4 minutes apart. So we've now crossed over the 511 threshold. So now we've got to, we should already be on the way to the hospital. So we are, we make it down to the car. You know, I grab the bags, I throw them in there, and we're waiting for our friend. Our friend's on his way. Tanya's door's wide open in the car, being like,
I'm yelling for these contractions. I'm sure I woke up a lot of people.
I need my epidural! I'm like, we're gonna get you your epidural. Yelling, kind of like hitting octaves that I was like, whoa, this is absolutely waking up people. But in the moment, I didn't care. We didn't care. Tanya was like,
I did not care.
And like, you know, leg is out the window, out the door, screaming. And, you know, literally about 12 feet from an apartment window. Bedroom.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I mean, they probably look through the window like, oh my gosh.
At least we know those neighbors.
Yeah, we know the neighbors, so it's all good. So we're waiting for Fred to come around. Yeah, okay, come here, park in, go here, you know, like, we go, you know, goes up to the apartment. We start, shooting off. I'm pulling out of our apartment.
So our friend finally gets here.
Gets there. He goes, yeah. So friend gets there. He runs up to the apartment. It's now, that's 4:45. So these are important. So 4:45, our friend gets to the apartment.
Yes.
We tear out of there.
I mean, you book it.
I pull up to the first light. It's a red light. And Tanya, you're like, what are you doing? Go through it.
The red light.
I like stop at it. There's no one on the road. It's 4:45 in the morning.
Okay, 4:45. Now at this point, my contractions are 2 to 3 minutes apart.
2 to 3 minutes apart.
Yes.
So that's close. So in layman's terms,
she's coming.
Baby's coming. You need to be here now. In the hospital. Here. We need to be in the hospital. Not here. We need to be in the hospital. So 2 to 3 minutes apart. The contractions have now sped up so quickly.
So
like
fast.
Way beyond any of this 511 information. Way beyond what birthing class would tell us. It was just like it went from having some contractions to get me to the hospital. And like,
think about it. Like, I had the first contraction around 2:15 a.m. The first contraction. Light. I mean, all contractions hurt. But on a side note, I also had Braxton Hicks throughout my last 2 months of the pregnancy. So there was also a moment where I was like, oh my gosh, am I getting Braxton Hicks again? And are they getting just stronger? Or is this the real deal?
Right.
Side note, but from 2:15 to 4:45, I went from the contractions were 18 minutes apart to 2 minutes apart in 2 hours.
2 hours. And from 3:30 to 4:30, it went from
Very quickly.
12 minutes apart to 2. So it's like, it went so fast, faster than we could have ever imagined, you know. And in my head, I'm kind of like, okay, you know, what's the game plan here? Like, how fast is this happening? And so my mind is just like, get to the hospital. Just get to the hospital. So I
I'm
blast
telling you to pass red lights.
Blast through that red light. Blast through another red light. Start going down up 35 to get to the hospital. Flying. I'm going like 100 miles an hour. Flying. And Tanya's like having contractions, gripping my hand, just being like, I'm not gonna make it. And I'm like, you're gonna make it. In my mind, I'm like, I might have to pull over and deliver this baby in the car. And I was like, logistics, all right, carry her to the back seat, pick up baby, I don't know, bite the umbilical cord off. I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, Tanya, and you were so brave. I'm so proud of you. You were so brave. But Tanya was literally like, give me my epidural. I'm in so much pain. I'm like, you're gonna get your epidural. We're gonna get you. In my mind, I have no idea.
And logically, I did have an idea. I knew, and I was not gonna get an epidural at that point. Like, I knew an anesthesiologist was not going to be able to, just quickly come up to my room.
Lay on your side, ma'am.
Yeah, let me put this epidural. No, like, I knew, but I just,
You're trying to cope with what's going on. And and so I am flying down there. Going 100 miles, take the exit. I'm going through downtown Austin. There's no one on the road, thank you God. Flying through red lights. I mean, like, I would say safely. At least I was looking both ways, but like going through red lights. Literally went through a red light. Cop right there. I just was like, whatever. He can
follow us all the way to the hospital.
All the way to the hospital. And so now we're going. As we're going, Tanya's water breaks.
Oh yeah, my water.
In the car as we're in downtown Austin, Tanya's water breaks. She's like, my water just broke. I'm like, what does that mean? What does that mean? She's like,
time.
It's time. It's like, oh, I'm looking for hand sanitizer. I'm like, what are we gonna do? Like, am I gonna do this? But I'm just like, we're going to the hospital. We're gonna make it. All right. We're flying. We finally pull up to the hospital block, but there was construction. So what should have been the entrance to get there, there was construction. And I'm like, okay, wait, where do I go? You know.
And mind you, we know the hospital.
Know the hospital.
We've been there. Our doctor's there. We delivered there. Now there's construction.
There's construction. Like, you know, Tanya's like, where are we going? I'm like, yeah, we're just gonna get it. So I'm just like, all right, it's a city block. Make a left, go in a square, get around it. So I kind of make a left and make a right, just try to get.
You were so brave, I gotta say. You were like, now that I'm hearing this again and what you were thinking as you know, under high stress, I mean, I just gotta give you props too.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Just trying to keep you guys safe and help you. Just like focusing on the goal, get to the hospital. Just that's all I had to think about. Just get to the hospital. You hold it in. I get to the hospital. So water broke. Contractions are now. I mean, a minute.
I don't even think I'm not in pain anymore. Like I'm just in contraction mode.
Contractions, yeah. Like you're not having contractions.
Yeah.
And so I finally see an entrance and just pull in. You know, again, I don't even know. There's construction everywhere. I just see an entrance and I see a door. It was like the door that were like ambulances go to like wheel in gurneys or whatever. And so I pull right up next to that. Doors are flying open. I go up to it. It's locked. I'm banging on the door. I'm not like, I don't know if there's time to go find a different entrance. I'm banging on the door. This was at 5:01. This is important. So we left the apartment 4:45. At 5:01, I'm banging on the emergency room door. Finally, a lady sees me. She's kind of walking up slowly, and I'm sure there's some protocol about crazy men in the middle of the night banging on the door and what you do. But I was like, my wife is pregnant. She's going to give birth. She's kind of like, what? So she kind of opens the door. She's like, what? I was like, my wife is pregnant. She's going to give birth. She's up there, and Tanya's in the back of the car like, ah! And when Tanya screamed, the nurse's eyes lit up. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, get a wheelchair. We need a wheelchair. She flies in there, goes, gets a wheelchair, comes out with some nurses, like 2 cops. Also, it's like 3 cops come out, 2 nurses.
All of a sudden, there's 5 people
around
our car.
They put you in the wheelchair, and you know, you're kind of like, you ask the nurse, so can you make sure they give me an epidural? This is just like an ER nurse, not like a labor and delivery nurse. And she's like, yes, I'm gonna tell them that you want an epidural. We're like, and they wheel you up there. I kind of park the car just out of the way. Leave it there, and I run up to the labor part of the hospital. Now, they bring you up an emergency elevator.
Yes, they took me through an emergency elevator.
They bring you to a triage room, so not even a labor and delivery room, like a triage room. It's basically like a 10x6 room. It's got like the bed is like a surfboard with bed sheets.
Yeah.
There's no sort of bed that has like an IV and like a heart rate monitor.
It's the pre-delivery room. It's where they take you, like, you have to be 4 centimeters dilated to go to a labor and delivery room with like the nice couches and everything. The triage is where you're they're waiting for you to get to the point where you can labor a little further. So the triage rooms are just pregnant women waiting.
Yeah.
And that's where they took me.
Yeah, because they have to like prepare the room. So there's in the triage. So I fire up there. There's no doctor there yet. It's just nurses and residents. We fly up there. They are moving 1,000,000 miles a minute. They're flying in there. Okay, ma'am, they're doing ultrasound on her. Ma'am, we see the baby. The cord is wrapped around her neck 4 times. We have to go into emergency C-section.
Yeah. Yeah, I was so consumed with my pain that I kept saying, "I just give me an epidural. Can I have an epidural, please? I need an epidural." And one of the nurses was like, "Ma'am, I need you to calm down.
It's too late.
It's too late. We do have to do an emergency C-section. I'm calling an OR right now." Like Pete said, she was like, the cord is wrapped 4 times around her neck, so we need to do an emergency C-section.
And that was like insane, because I'm like in the back, I'm seeing it. They're trying to hook her up to IV. They're trying to do everything. I'm see what's going on. They're saying this, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what? The cord is wrapped around 4 times around her neck, like emergency OR. The residents calling in, hey, we're trying to get the OR prep for you.
They're trying to get the OB on call there. She was in the hospital somewhere. She did not make it.
And at one point, Tanya's like, literally like in so much pain. And at one point, just kind of is like, yeah, like going to the couch. And I see a nurse's face look at me. And she looks surprised. And she kind of runs over. I was like, why are you looking at me? I know why I'm surprised. Why do you look surprised? Like, get in there. Go help. Don't look at me. Go help her. And so this is where Tanya's bravery was just on full display, and total mother's intuition.
Grace of God.
Grace of God. All of a sudden, they're like, we need to get you to the OR. And you're like,
I had to push. Yeah, I just felt like, and I'm sure all moms can relate, and your body instinctively knows what to do. And at that moment, I just looked at the nurses and I was like, I have to push. I'm going to push.
And they didn't say anything.
They didn't say anything.
They're on the phone.
They're on the phone trying to get the OR ready. I'm like, I'm pushing.
I was like, I have to push.
And one push, and
we see the head.
Yeah.
We see the head. Boom, she's here. They snip the umbilical cord. They run her off to, get her some oxygen and make sure all her vitals are okay.
And that was it.
Then she was here.
She was here at what time?
At 5:09.
5:09.
So she was born at 5:09. So 5:01, I'm banging on the door. At 4:45, we're at our apartment. At 5:09,
she's here.
She is here. In the world. That was close. Oh, that was close.
We would not have made it if we would have waited for my parents to get here from Spring Branch, which is an hour away from us. We wouldn't have made it.
No, wouldn't have made it. The entire labor, delivery, pushing, everything was
shorter than how long I pushed for our first.
Yeah.
I pushed with our son for 3 hours. This all happened
2.5 hours.
2.5 hours.
Everything 2.5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So it was close, and it's funny. I all the nurses and everyone. Wow, oh my gosh, kind of like congratulations, you did it, baby. We kind of don't even know what's going on at first. I'm like, where's the baby?
Yeah.
Can I go see her? They're like, is she okay? They're like, yeah, they're just checking her vitals and oxygen. They can't give you all the information. I'm like, what? So I go see her, and they're giving her oxygen. They're like, yeah, she's completely fine. She's totally fine. Oxygen is fine. They're doing the tests on her. Like, yeah, her reflexes are fine. Her eyes are fine. They're like, she's great. She's perfect. As if nothing was wrong. There was no cord wrapped around her neck or anything.
Yeah. And that's just also a testament to, again, like our bodies and nature and and babies too. Like she was like, I gotta get out of here. This is wrapped around me 4 times. My body as a mom was like, we gotta get her out to keep her safe. And there was a beauty of nature in that for sure. And the fact that I only had to push once.
One time.
I mean,
yeah, it was like this. It was incredible. It was like this incredible connection of like mother, nature, God, all of you guys working together to say this is the exact time the baby needs to be here. If we came any earlier,
they would have put me in a C-section.
C-section, and that's a harder recovery. There's other things involved that could be harder. If we arrived any later, would have delivered in the car.
And what do we know about an umbilical cord wrapped around?
4 times. I would have to deliver. I do not know what to do. I don't know. Like, who knows what would have happened? So it was like this perfect moment of like God being like, this is the exact moment.
Yeah.
Your daughter, my daughter needs to be in the world.
Yeah.
And it was just like they didn't know what to do. They were just like, oh, what? And you're just like, I'm pushing, and you pushed, and bam, baby's here.
Yep. And then the doctor got there.
Then the doctor got there. You were in pretty good shape. A little bit of light, figure and everything.
Yeah, I bled quite a bit.
Right. Okay.
So they were taking care of that. But outside of that, no, we were fine.
Yeah. I asked one of the nurses, so do you guys see this a lot? They're like, no, not at all.
Yeah.
I was like, how many deliveries happen in the triage room? They're like, very few. She's like, I've seen one in my career, I think. This is very rare. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Okay. They're like, yeah, good job getting here. You got it. I did my best. So it was absolutely wild.
It was wild.
It was wild.
But a lot of grace looking back now. And really just the way, as Pete said, the way everything happened was, I'm so convicted that it was just the Lord, obviously, in everything. From even my parents weren't able to get here in time. Well, if they got here in time, like you said, we would have gone to the hospital and they would have given me a C-section.
Yeah.
So I just really think the Lord was really in all of it.
Yeah.
And the fact that we had asked some friends, can we just call you? And that they said, yeah, we'll have our phones on ringer moving forward this upcoming week.
Yeah. And
they did, and yeah.
Yeah. Just grateful to everyone involved, everyone that helped out, all the nurses, all the medical professionals. Oh my
gosh, they're amazing.
Yeah, incredible. It just was such an incredible experience, and so different than our first one, but we still just, I don't know, it really could be unifying a little bit.
Oh,
It's kind of be on the same page, and I don't know if y'all can hear, but the
outcome,
the conclusion of the story. She's crying over here. This is the
champion.
The true champion was this one right here. What do you have to say? He said, yeah, I had to make my appearance crazy, right? I had to make my appearance in the world in a wild fashion, right? So she said. You heard it here first. So this is the true champion right here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, our little blessing.
Our
fighter. Yeah, she's incredible. But, it just is, it's one of those things you kind of really blown away by the strength of, just families and mothers and babies and how strong they are in these moments, and how incredibly powerful the childbirth experience is. And, and just, it was
wild. My, as Pete has reminded me, you overcame one of your biggest fears, because one of my biggest fears, and probably why I was constantly screaming, give me my epidural.
Right.
And I would say in general, one of my fears is just pain, whether that's internal pain, emotional pain, or physical pain. My biggest fear is just pain. And I have always been terrified of the labor pains. And so I just didn't have a choice this time. And I think the way Pete said is you can accomplish anything now. You overcame one of your biggest fears, and
what could you be afraid of? What could you be scared
there
of?
There is something really empowering about giving birth anytime, but this time the fact that I didn't have medication,
right,
definitely was this empowering feeling that my body was made for this, for sure.
And you did it.
It's a pain that I know every mom experiences, but I wouldn't wish on anybody.
I could never imagine. Whew. Yeah, but I was really just, you're so powerful.
Thanks.
Your body, and then what could you be afraid of right now? And so I was just so proud of you.
Thank you.
Proud of you for all that you did and all that you went through. And I kind of felt so bonded to our daughter right away because of the experience, and just so proud of you, and just feeling more and more unified to you. And it's just wow, our little family. What can't we do? What can't we accomplish? So, but thank you, God, for just kind of being there the whole time, every single step of the way, and guiding us every single step of the way to keep everyone safe and healthy. And again, we're watching the Super Bowl that night. 12 hours later, healthy, happy, eating dinner.
In minimal pain.
Minimal pain.
Because I didn't have any medication, so my body just very naturally, I mean, I was walking. Yeah. I was not a ton, but I was walking to the bathroom. That's something I wasn't doing when I got an epidural last time. So just...
And I had a couple aches and pains, but I was powering through. So very minimal pain on every side. No, I'm just playing. Yeah, like literally, she was like just gave birth, and she's like bouncing around up and down the hospital room. I was like, what just happened? What happened today? And we're watching the Super Bowl as a family 12 hours later. So
yeah. With our son.
With our daughter, like
our daughter.
You know, God just is able to protect us all so much in ways that seem insane, but just is like protecting us all along the way. And you know, we were able to see God's blessings and protection throughout the whole process, even though it was crazy.
Yep.
Felt safe and like felt Him every step of the way. That's our story. It was incredible. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Tanya.
I hope you guys think it's as wild as we think. Maybe people are going to listen and be like, that sounds like a normal birth story.
See, you're getting the podcast scaries, which is I'm talking into a camera. Does anyone care about this? Does this make any...
It's true.
You're getting it, but I promise you people are going to like this story, I think. No, but no.
Podcast scaries.
Podcast scaries.
I like that.
Oh my gosh, yeah. There's I'm sitting by myself in our kitchen recording. I'm just like, okay, here we go, Pete. Let's look at your notes. But that's why I love connecting with people on this and building relationships with people through the podcast, because that's where like it's built. Anyway, thank you all for watching, for listening to this story, to the podcast, for supporting. Thank you, Tanya, for coming on and chatting and talking about all this.
Yeah, of course. I love What's the Dill.
I mean, you are
co-host.
You're still. Co-host. You're still a co-host. Anytime I'm waiting for you every week. I got to come up with other stuff while you're not. Oh man, maybe you could come on more often this year.
Yeah, I would like that.
Yeah, we can maybe make a little thing out of it.
Yeah, totally.
Once a month or something, but
we'll see.
What, once a week?
We'll see. With 2 kids under two now that we have. Well, we could talk about that in a podcast. Maybe.
There you go. Exactly. 202. 202. So thank you all so much again for watching, for sharing, for listening. Thank you to Tanya, and hope you all have a great week. Hope you all are, doing great, and I hope you all keep checking back in.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.